Hey guys, this is Jim Rose. This video is going to deal with time management and latency compensation on the Midas HD96, the new console out by Midas. Midas has always been known for having good summing. This console's taken it a little further than before. Arrival times of your instruments out of your console is paramount for having a good mix, because things that are double bust or running through auxiliary loops or things internal in a console, if the timing from the input source to get to your final destination changes on something and it's running alongside something else, when those arrival times change, it will introduce a phase issue that will change the way the console sounds, and something that could start out as a good source can turn to garbage. It's a really interesting thing that if you're not careful with, especially when you have things in your console that are summing to mono somewhere in your mix, it can play a big game with you. A lot of people are really concerned with that. There's people like Toby Francis who will carry, outboard summing matrices boxes so that they can build their mix in a console, spit everything out of their console, and do their summing external from the console, trying to keep everything coherent going into the PA. Midas has done a really good job in their family of consoles to get there. This one has taken it one step further. Normally there's a chain of trying to keep your inputs to your groups, to your matrices and your final mixes out at the same time, no matter how the loop it takes to get there. On this console, I've drawn a little map. This console, they've done a good job of making this be relatively perfect in the latency compensation. Anything coming from an input, including inserts, and you can have 3 inserted effects per channel on this console into your inputs. Everything with inputs, whether it goes directly to the matrices, whether it goes to left-right to a matrix, whether it goes to a group to a left-right to a matrix, or whether it goes a flexi group to a left-right to a matrices. A flexi group can go to a group, can go to left-right, can go to the matrix. A group can go to left-right to the matrix, and the left-right can go to a matrix. All of these things can all be compensated for equal arrival on this console. If you're looking at this little sheet I drew, there's another item in here that's landed that's called a flexi group, which is a new item they actually introduced into this console. And that flexi group, in a normal console, you'll come out of your input and you'll go to a group. What they've done is they've introduced a thing called a flexi group on the outputs. What that flexi group is, it's a way to sum instruments together as a group and send them into your group. So hypothetically, you have a snare top and a snare bottom, and you're going to put that into a crush group with your drums that's going to come to here. What if you could take that snare top and that snare bottom, send them into their own group, check them out for if you have to deal with a delay compensation, with a delay on a channel, or phase shift, to lock these two together so that your snare top and your snare bottom are perfect to each other. And then you take that one signal and you send it to your group further down the line, and that's where you pick up your signal. You could take this out of left-right at this point, still run it to your crush group, but you could send this flexi group all the way to your left-right as your left-right send. This would give you the ability that if you need to get some more crack on your snare, you can EQ it at this position. By EQing here rather than here on either the top or the bottom, you're EQing a single signal, which would mean if you were to take a frequency on one of your mics here and change EQ changes phase correlation, so that would change that snare top to snare bottom, and it's changing the frequency and the tone of that snare top or snare bottom, but it's also changing the relationship with it to the snare top or the snare bottom, whichever you had changed. If you could sum those two together in an interim step, and then have that one source that you could send to your group, and now you can EQ this separately, or you can comp that separately before it goes in to this crush group or it goes down, and keep everything in perfect time, it gives you another placeholder to make your final mix perfect. And they've introduced this thing called Flexi groups into this console, which allows another step to be concerned with time. People that are, it's in order to get a good mix, I feel like some people with good reason are being minimalist and going back and trying to figure out how do we, with all the forward motion we're making, get back to the simple thing of we want to equal arrival at this point. Might have spent a lot of time and effort on this console to take it that one step further with Flexi Group. They've also, along with that in the console, on the channels, if we go into a channel on this console now, you can see I'm going to go to a guitar channel here, and I'm going to go to my guitar left, and I'm going to go to a channel view. So I'm in this guitar left channel here, and if I bring up a solo on a selected channel, I'm going to take a little, I've got a loop of guitars running here, and if I turn this loop up, I'm going to have a loop of some organs and some drums playing. And right now the guitars are muted. And at this point, if I unmute one side, these are running mono right now, the guitar comes into the mix. If I unmute the other one, the guitar comes into the mix. If I unmute both of them, the high end is gone and it gets phased into the mix and it's kind of lost. So at that point, anywhere you'd be sending that guitar in a mono mix out of this console, front fills, lawn feeds, ALS, lobbies, that's the guitar tone they'd be picking up, even if you have a big stereo image in your room that you're listening to. This console on all of the channels gives you the ability to do delay in minimal increments, but it also gives you all pass filters or phase change on the channels also. So when I was listening to this here, what I found is that if I went to my guitar right and I go into my EQ setting and I bring this back in here, I'll give you there's the left, there's the right. The combination of the two kind of phases out. But I can take this now and I can go into my phase filter here with an all pass, and at 26 degrees I can bring the guitar back into the mix in proper time and phase for the guitars to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now if I could take that guitar signal that I'm listening to right now and send that to a group and use that group as a place to EQ that guitar, I'm not going to introduce any more phase problems between the snare top and the snare bottom. So that's what we're going to do. We'll take a minute here, and what we'll do is we're going to go into guitar left here, we'll go to sends, and I'm going to come into here and I'm going to go to, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to my aux sends, and I've got, say, 73 and 74 here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two auxes and I'm going to link them to stereo, okay? And I'm going to send these to the stereo bus, right? And then I'm going to set them into group mode. So now they are a stereo group coming up this aux 73 and aux 74 there to tie together. At that point, I'm going to go into my guitar left here, and I'm going to take guitar left and I'm going to come into aux 73 and 74, and I'm going to turn it on to there. So now you see it just popped up into this aux mix here. And then we're going to take channel, the second guitar channel, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come into here and we're going to go into aux 73, and we're going to turn that one on. Actually, we're going to turn that on there. Come on. What do I got going on? I got to select it first. We're going to send that there too. So now you can see both of these guitar channels are sending to aux 73. Now we've got these going there, but these guitars are also running to left right at this point. So if we go into our setup here, we're going to take it out of the stereo bus on the left, and we're going to take it out of the stereo bus on the right. So now these guitars are now, as we listen to the mix, we've got them coming through from the channel to this bus to left right. Based on all the timing we've done here, we're going to do a little test here. What we're going to do is now we're going to take these guitars and we are going to turn them into the stereo bus also. So now everything, this channel is now going from directly to the stereo bus and through the aux to the stereo bus. And as you can see, they're summing without adding a phase change and screwing up the sound, because the latency compensation in this desk is making everything work. I can take this out of the equation, so now we're going straight to left, right. The level dropped, but the guitars are still there. The group brings it in, or I can go to my channels here, take them out of the stereo bus, and now I'm mixing my show, but my guitars are being fed through this group. So now if I want to do a EQ setting on here, I can do the EQ through this group. And if I do the EQ through this group, it will affect both those left and right microphones in anything that is happening in a mono sum system. I can still go back to these channels here now, right? And I can set my knobs on this console to be pan and stereo, right? So now I can come to here and I can pan these guitars in my left-right mix to be panned hard, right? So that they're still stereo. So in the course of my main room, I'm still getting my stereo imaging, but any place else in this audio system now is getting a clean sound of the guitars in the mix, rather than getting a phased out signal that would have been lost if this console couldn't do what it's doing in time management with the help of channel delays and all pass filters in the EQ system on the console. So this is just another feature this console has that steps it ahead of most consoles out there between all of these features in there. Again, you can take the group that I've got this running through. If you're running that group to do snare tops and snare bottoms and toms and things in crush groups, you could turn one of these groups into a Flexi group by going simply into the group, going into, where's the mode in here? Let's find it in here. Let's get into this. We'll go to this aux and we'll go into the setup, and we can find it one of these names here. Group. We just turn this into a Flexi aux, and if we turn this Flexi aux on here, it changes the timing of this group to move it into the chain before the group, to allow that group, that Flexi group, to make it to your final crush group all in time, along with carrying this out of your console in time. So there's some really cool features that have been added in the audio path of this console, not just the cool everything else it's got in it, to try to make this console supply an even better sound than you get out of the existing Pro Series line. So this is the all pass filter, channel delay, and groups with latency management on the Midas Heritage D. Hope you guys like this one.